And then the next part was that Muktzeh.
Yeah, of course.
So, I just want to explain what happened over here. We're talking about a keli, shemalachta, and a heter. And the keli shemalachta heter, the Rav says, I don't want to be marach about, so I want to just go quickly. The times of Yirmiyah, Chazal saw that people are carrying. I think last week, carrying was a malocha, it's called a malocha grua. People don't realize it's a real malocha. You know, carrying, what am I doing? I didn't plow, I didn't cook. What did I do? You know, people have this. So at the time of Yirmiyah they saw, so the Chazal asked them to touch almost anything. So it means, the Rav says like this, the early Gezerah was this Mount Shleiman, was the early Gezerah that made Muktzeh, but then in Yirmiyah's times they made a Gezerah not to touch almost any cave. But the Chazal saw that things got better, so they allowed a keli shemalachta, a heter, to be metaltal and tzorach. That is now the famous question: what does it mean in tzorach? You know, you're sitting at the Shabbos table and just, we Jewish people don't know how to sit still. You just gotta move. Someone told me many years ago, I was standing for the airline, trying to change my ticket. He says, I'll tell you who's Jewish in this line. The ones who don't know how to sit still. Jewish people don't know how to sit still. He said, so the question really is when you're sitting at a table, I pick up a fork and I'm moving around. Is that a tzorach, not a tzorach? Truth is, the bell is not necessary. The bell, you pick up a fork just to play, just scratch yourself and
No, scratch yourself is episode.
yeah, okay, that's a tzorach. But just it's nervousness.
You say it was all to prevent from carrying? Is that where it stems from?
That's what it stems from. Because carrying was a big zilzal. People don't realize that. Okay? And one of the things why the Gemara says you should have a native, I know this is a Chabad, but they're going to say what the Gemara says. And
So Chabad said you should have one, you just shouldn't use it.
Okay, and the Srs05 said, Sefer was the one who writes in the famous Shuvah, he gives Musa to a Rav, he wanted to be Machan to bring Erev, is that Yechon is coming to a Gula because people are going to carry. People by mistake carry all the time. It's all the time. You see this all the time. That's one of the reasons I pushed the Erev very much in the neighborhood. I noticed this. It was ridiculous. Older people are walking with canes. We have Pelochim. Not allowed to walk with a cane. Many things were just like, I noticed that people were just... So B'kitzah, this is what the Rav says. So let's go to Yid Zayin. I want to just move to Yid Zayin. Say, this is get to the Os Yid Zayin, the next page, to Yid Zayin.
Let's go back. So Shabbat tzorach klal is prohibited because people are not...
So that is a question which I looked today, in the Moirerus today, someone was sitting at the table and asked the Chazanish, I'm a nervous guy, can I just pick up the fork? He says, yeah, that's a tzorach. If you're nervous, that's a tzorach. So I don't know what tzorach means. I remember struggling since I'm a teenager, the first time I learned this halacha. I don't know if everything is, if being nervous is a tzorach, so what's not a tzorach? I want to tease the guy, I want to poke him in the back.
That's the short tzorach.
Yeah. So, what is the tzorach? But depending, I'm just saying, the bottom line is we do silverware, and we're sitting at a table. Well, I don't have a good explanation. Let's just see Yud Zayin. Min ochlan imashkin amitur b'Shabbos, which you're allowed to eat Shabbos. Chol min isvara shvit rikel b'amita v'talta for the shloim tzorach klal. Food never was Muktzeh, in Svarim was never included in Muktzeh. There's no reason whatsoever. That's how Fisher goes to the Meinechemia Elam Kalim, Loyal Ochlem, the sword. They never made a gzera on the food and sword. And achshav can be called gzera shemei chania shemei called the kol the Shabbos afila shloi netzoyrech klal. That means food and sword. Avdu b'sheinu b'Shabbos.
When we say svarim, we mean books or svarim specifically? If a medical book for a doctor, is that books on Shabbos?
No, it's not Muktzeh.
Well, let's see, a sports book or something like that.
We're on tape now. In the bottom he writes, Eil svarim hamutorim b'kriyah b'Shabbos, right?
Well, is it Muktzeh a sports book? I don't think so. It's just a little Tauber. Not because it's Muktzeh. The question is once upon a time there was a telephone book. Remember the good old days? It's coming up soon. And that was a Kaddish Lachtalesa. And once upon a time, every house had a Sears catalog. Remember the good old days? It was this thick, and I remember it was my first two children. We used to. I didn't have a chair for them, so I used it for their booster seat, the Sears catalog. Anyway, so the kids, that is a Kaddish Lachtalesa, unless it doesn't.
Designated as a booster chair.
As a booster chair. But I'm saying, but
it's not in and of itself malachta. It's that leads to malachta.
It's made for shopping. Truth is, I was most specific in this because today, we're talking about 35 years later. I remember the first children. There were not so many books available for small children, so we used to get Caroline. We used to love to look at the pictures of small children. Today, I see my grandchildren, there's so many different availability of books to read and even more educational and more, truth is much more. But I remember that, the small children used to look at a catalog.
Oh, yeah.
And I held never was Muktzeh because we didn't do any shopping in Sears. This was made, for the children to look. I'm saying, but the Maisa, that is called, if you have a book that is not a Kaddish Lachtalesa, it's just a book, it's not Muktzeh. Even though.
So a manual for an electrician would be a book that's Muktzeh.
Right.
That's what
But medical books is not Muktzeh. If you're learning, and a lot of doctors, a lot of upgrade this profession, and any article you're doing it, not doing business, but to upgrade your profession is not Muktzeh.
Cookbooks?
Speak up.
Cookbooks.
Which island?
Yeah, cookbooks is
Upgrade his profession. Same thing. He's a cook.
Throw a book on the
That's not the cook.
What if someone's not a cook?
Okay, so Rabbi, how we say for this one?
the cookbooks, I tell you, a lot of those. They tell me, they look at the cookbooks, not how to cook, the pictures are incredible. So, it is made the Kaddish Lachtalesa, because I do see that once in a while they take it out and check a recipe. But again, if it's used.
But there's a lot of recipes that in a cookbook that aren't, you cook, you salad,
Depends.
That's true, you could use it on Shabbos.
Yeah, the art food is that's true, but it's mostly cooking, mostly, and by Kaddish Lachtalesa goes the majority. So again, any book is really not Muktzeh. Honestly speaking, it's only if you have a book which is business or whatever, that's a Muktzeh. But if it's not business, it's just reading, and can't say it's Muktzeh.
So what's the problem with reading the paper on Shabbos?
Reading the paper Shabbos, if it's a Shabbos paper, there's two problems. First of all, you're not allowed to have it delivered to your house. That's the first problem.
And if it was delivered, you can't have unlocked from it.
And second, many hold that a newspaper is the real Muktzeh. They print it in the winter on Shabbos. I asked many years ago. I asked someone who worked in downtown for LA Times. He told me that in the summer, maybe not, but in the winter, they start printing it at 6 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock at
It's
night.
noilet.
So it's noilet. That's a Muktzeh that everyone agrees. It's mamish, it's nothing, it's a roll of paper, and you mamish creating a book. That's a Muktzeh, which is called noilet. Even on Shabbos, it's a type of noilet that's awesome.
But if it's a Thursday's paper.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday's paper.
No, it's only bittul type of Shabbos.
Yeah.
Not Muktzeh.
I was studying for classes this evening in high school or college.
That's okay. Anything for doing for panas, it's okay. Even I always say a story. Not long ago, I had two wonderful doctors, state mamash, 2 years ago, 2.5 years from Israel. The Americans made an aliyah. One was an expert that the government sent. He would, unfortunately, he was in charge. The bombs go off and the disfiguring of the face. He was a reconstruction, how to call the face.
Surgical, plastic.
So plastic, special for. The other one was, and there was a big convention in Kodak Theater, imagine, for the doctors to have. And he was Shpash Zocher, and they had to hear. So, they called my house, and my wife just invited them. They said, they're not going to sleep at my house. The government paid them tickets for the hotel there. But they ate Friday night, and they walked Shabbos morning to the shul over here. It was the closest shul was our shul, and they walked back. And he told me, his rabbi explained to him, I told him it's okay that you shall have to go to all the classes. It's a simple halacha. I mean, this is famous people don't know. You're allowed to go to upgrade to be a better doctor. So because learning a profession is a very important mitzvah. Not like some people think it's not. It is a chiv that every father has to his children, and it's so learning. But you have to. What I found asking people, which is very important, is try to remember Shabbos. Just how the doctor told me, you have to go to a convention.
Try to
remember in Shabbos. You're walking around, the people are going. So I told them, put on your best Shabbos clothing. Something will continuously remind you of Shabbos. It's very easy to forget yourself. Even easy,
You can't speak business on Shabbos.
But you can learn the profession.
Profession?
A doctor cannot say, send me your patients. Doctors also willing to send me, and I say, you can't do that.
You can watch videos at this lecture?
Yeah, he's not doing it for him. He's doing it for 500 people, so you could watch it. Yeah, that's no problem.
Kind of like a Marabayan for like a non-religious Jew, seeing
That's an old question I have for non-religious Jews. There's not a sign. I don't think so. This is a question I have all the time. But anyways, there is no maras ayin if something is right.
That's what we want.
We already said it more than once. Just because people don't know the halacha, that doesn't make it maras ayin. Maras ayin is only when someone's going to see you do this and says, oh, he's writing on Shabbos. When someone's going to see you attend this, it says, oh, I thought you're not allowed to do it. You're wrong, you're allowed to do it. You understand? Maras ayin is not when a person doesn't know the halacha. You understand what I'm saying? Maras ayin is like you hang up your laundry that's wet on Shabbos, not one. You got your thing fell into a puddle of water, you can hang it up. People can say, he put the wash machine on. Because unfortunately, we humans like to judge people in favor of it. I said in favor of it. I do it very well.
Rabbi, you said in the past that if I'm working on a case, that a law student could study on Shabbos, but if I had a case, I couldn't read up on the case on Shabbos. But, it seems like a very fine line between me learning the area of a law of a case that I'm involved in, or me learning the area of a law just because I want to be a better lawyer.
So a case that you're involved is business now. I don't know exactly what type of law you do, but if you are representing someone, you are defending someone. So right now, you're getting paid for what you're doing. You're researching how to defend this one, or how to write the legal paperwork. Now, a guy wants to become a lawyer, that he's learning to become a lawyer. So he's becoming it's a guy who's learning to become a doctor. So he's got to pass the exam. Now that he's a doctor, if he's not working on a case, he's just, let's say, if a new law would come out continuously, you're just reading about the new laws, you're not doing any case, that's okay. But if you are attending a lawsuit, which you want to, deal with, so you're doing business now. That's what you were hired for. You were hired to do research.
Okay. But if I study that same case,
because you want to be better lawyer.
And like the week after my case, settled or went away, then it's all right. Okay.
If part of my business is looking in magazines to see what my competitors are doing, for me that's business.
That's business. That's business.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, let's move on. Avadu Sheinu B'Shabbos. Avadu Sheinu B'Shabbos. You used to the Tauber Beinu with the Shleimo. Muktzeh was a very, up to Yudzayim, the second paragraph. This is a very early Gzeda, the times of David and Shlomo. It's very, very, very early in the Gzeda of Muktzeh. He says, even before the Mashi and Kalim, if the Kois is a car, the Sak Yotzim, and Kilamoy Bechlal Gzeda, she goes again Belain, she don't Tzurich Tashmishon, the Loy Tzurich Kol Tzurich Dufa. Yerbi and Kalim said, even a spoon and a fork, only be metaltal if you need to eat. But if you just need a place, you can't even move it. Imagine how strict Muktzeh was. I could put a plate down to eat. I'm finished eating. You can't even move the plate if you don't need it anymore. Even if I want to move the plate, that's it. You're like, I need a space. I'm going to put my elbow on the table. The plate is there.
That's how it
Times
used to
a
be.
that's how it used to be. And the Chazal allowed you to use a plate because to use it, it says. Then later they allowed to use it even so they allowed you even that for the pond. That means I need the space, I need to move it away, I don't want the plate to break. Again, the Rav is marach. You know why the Rav is marach like this? He wants to just tell us how important Muktzeh is. See, we don't have this appreciation. Tell you why. Because we are blessed beyond imagination. Everything has a cave today. You know what I'm saying? Everything has, they didn't have everything, like I explained, only marshal I have is a rack. The guy used it for door stopper, keep the door open. But they had major problems in Muktzeh. And I once saw in the drushes and Yonis Nightshits, the Yaros Devash, very famous writer before the Baal Shem Tov. He says if you don't learn Hilchos Muktzeh 5 times, I guarantee you're going to touch Muktzeh Shabbos. I don't think so. I don't. If a guy really wants to keep the halacha, he doesn't have to know all the. There's sometimes small details you got to refine too. But it's the Muslim. We don't have this problem. We live in a different situation. Okay. Imagine. You're allowed to carry a knife with you. After all the basic knesses, b'mukim sheyesh sham erev, avapi she'enu tzurich sham besakin. You don't need an knife. See, the Rav, I want to tell you something. The Rav seems to be very machmish. He says he's bothered by a question. They used to have a knife. Everyone had a knife on themselves. And he says, how could I walk around with my knife all Shabbos? I don't need it now. So he says, yes, you do need it. You never know when you're going to need it. It might be a shoe, it might be someone else, you want to cut an apple. You need a knife. So that's called the tzorech, even though you're not 100% you're going to need it. But maybe I'll be walking, someone will offer me an apple, someone will offer something. They used to have a knife with them all the time. So that is called the tzorech since you don't know. You see how machmir he was. Like if there is no use, that's what to me it seems that there's no use of the keli, it should be awesome.
Also, shlo to answer your question, if something is in my pocket, that would be an aychavsa. That's shlo klal.
Well,
So if there's an edel and I'm slapping it around, that's shlo klal. I'm not nervous.
That's an important question. I saw this once from Chazon Ish. Someone asked the Chazon Ish, he doesn't want to empty his pockets and place the zayda because I'm just lazy. Is it called I'm a taltu shlo klal? He says if it's a big terchet, that's a tzayda, that you schlep in the bed, So he answered him. The guy, I don't know. He had things in his pocket. So he didn't want to take it out. He was, sharp, take this and take that. He said, that's also a tzayda. You don't want to take it out and put it away and misplace it. I don't know.
Yeah, but that would be according to the Tauber. That has to explain why you carry a knife.
I'm saying, this halacha is a very not clear halacha. And I think we don't have such a clarity because it's not so much negay of us. We look I don't know.
Could it not be here
Because we have kelim, so you have to remember, you have a spoon, you have a fork, you have everything that we need, we have a special kelim. We have a can opener and a this opener, and now we don't even need openers. You know, once upon a time, remember those can openers? Remember those? You know, oh, what's up? You know, I don't know what's called even. You know what I mean? I don't even see it. I went to Shom Zacher. Guy didn't, mistake. He had the thing that he needed can openers, and he went to his neighbor quickly. He didn't even have. You know, we live in an era like we are. You know, we have catering for everything has a separate catering.
Okay.
So I'm saying it could be those days. I'm trying to picture why this was such a problem. But according to the Rab, I'm saying if you learn the halacha strictly according to the Rab, he seems is quite machmir. The only had to carry a knife is you might need it. But if I'm sitting and I just want to move, move it for no reason because I'm nervous, it seems like it's awesome. He has to tell me, you know why a knife is okay to carry? I might need it when I go to shoot, someone might offer me an apple and cut it open. Well, that's a problem. It's comfortable to have a knife. It's static to have a knife. Exactly.
If you wear it all the time, is it like a watch?
What? A watch is a malbush. I'm going to say that the Srs05 says a malbush was never included in the Gzeira. So a watch is never
Even a cheap watch. Doesn't
Yeah,
have a
watch.
A watch is a
Watch is like a baguette.
But if you
Most
wear the
person-
knife all the time,
If what?
if you have the knife on you all the time.
Yeah, but it's not a baguette. The difference between this and a knife is made to carry, to pull out the knife and use it. This is never made to take off. The rule of a malbush is this is always going to stay here. It's not being look at the time, I'm going to take my watch off. A knife, you hold it in your holster, but it's made when I arrive someplace, I want to cut something, I take it out. That's what carrying. What do you say?
Cufflinks would be the
A
same.
malbush, yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure, a malbush. But even that's why this is not good. This is called a.
That comes with a watch on it.
Yeah, someone asked me that cover the watch.
What's the question?
I will get to it, but you're not wear watch showers. I don't carry. Everybody carry a watch because anything that you wear on you all the time becomes a malbush. It's like your glasses. It's like people have hearing aid, and like a doctor carries. What's it called? Not this. That's called carrying. Because ID, when you get into the hospital, you have to carry, to put over here. The only problem with this is, it's very cheap, it would fall off, but it's not called carrying.
It's what called malbush.
It's called a mix. It's on you all the time.
For a child, it's the same idea as Muktzeh, right? They can carry their sweater. Their sweater, or if they walk into shul, they put a sweater on, and they want to take it out. There's no air. They can carry it.
Well, it depends how old the child is.
Right. No, you get it.
That's okay.
Okay.
No, no, it's
Right.
Well, that's something. In Chassidim, Polish Chassidim, how to be cool with the Polish Chassidim. Hungarians didn't like it. I don't know about them in Russian. The Polish had a kula, they're based in Shiurim, that the children would take food to shul Shabbos. I grew up in Williamsburg, and we always knew the Polish Yidden would have the children carry nash to shul Shabbos.
For them.
We were, for themselves, and we were all annoyed. We didn't have nash. I was a young child. And when I got older, I saw someone go down to Shiurim, they held that to, I don't know exactly what the cheshbon was, because the Shulchan says you're not allowed to tell a child carry, you're not allowed to tell a child to carry you for themselves. So you had a cheshbon, I remember what the cheshbon
Why
was.
does they have Pekalach and Shul beforehand and they didn't have to carry the Shul?
It's better to make you angry on the Polish than to give the kids candy. That's why. Thank you. Yeah.
But the mice and halacha, strict halacha, you're not allowed to. I don't know how to answer Chabad. There's a native here, so I don't know what to tell them. You have to tell the child, not to tell them. People ask me all the time, how should I be machanach my children? People next door from Chabad, they don't want to ask about it.
I was wondering the same thing, mamish, this week, and I was walking with my 7-year-old daughter, and I said to her, you're not allowed to carry on Shabbos unless you're Erev, and she knew all about it. So in the school, they're teaching them.
How about say this again?
She knew. She told. I said to her because I figured I'm going to start telling her about the Erev and the concept. She's 7 years old. Who we carry every Shabbos to shul, some candies for her or whatever. And I said, on Shabbos you're not allowed to carry unless there's an Erev. And she said, I know that you're not allowed to carry anything on Shabbos. And then we happened to have been in Nevada one time for Shabbos, and there was no Erev here, so we didn't carry. So she remembered that.
She does carry her.
She carries here, but she knew the concept. And in the school, she told me they're teaching her about it.
That's very good. That's very good.
They taught her that.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Let's see the test at film. He says, Tefillin, ein din kasifri kodesh, now this is the most common thing.
The shells of the pistachio, why are those not for if a person feels like
That's
them?
totally, once you shelled, once I say took the shell off the pistachio, the nuts, that becomes garbage and has nothing.
Right, but you were saying that the fork could be.
The fork is a keli. That is a keli. The shell of the nuts is right now not a keli. It's made to throw away, and that is really muktzeh. That's why. But the meaning is, one of the reasons that the Rav says not to eat pistachio because I watch shell. Yeah, I'm talking shell because I see it in shul. When I first came to my shul many years ago, used to have the shell shoes. You notice everyone is nervous and playing with the shell. That's really muktzeh.
So it has to be a cake.
You can get over a garbage can technically?
Yeah, but the question is, can you touch the shell? That's what he's asking. Sitting at a table, you pick up the shell. That's muktzeh.
What's not a keli?
But the shell is not a keli.
What else is not a keli?
It's a garbage. Everything that's shells on eggs. That's not. What?
Sunflower seeds is the same thing.
Same
Plant is not a keli.
Same thing. That's when Israel they used to go down the floor.
Right.
The first time I came to Israel, I couldn't believe it.
There
It
was
was
a
a
thing.
shoe. The floor was like snow.
Galilee.
Isn't it true? It's disgusting. You're not allowed to do the shoe. That's a Hilchos. You're not allowed to do that with shoe. But and the reason they do it, they don't want to take it with their hands and spit it out because it's Muktzeh. Some hold, there's a shiny hole that you're allowed to take it out. We'll get to it later. So it's in your mouth. You're allowed to take it with your hand.
But the orange
Why is
peel,
all the talking about nuts and not eggs?
What do you say?
orange peel, banana peel,
Well, orange peel, certain people eat it.
banana peel.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
A lot of people eat sunflower seeds, the whole thing too.
Yeah, do eat sunflower.
Sure, that's Irish also.
But not
Not the big Israeli ones.
Not the Israeli ones.
Right.
What are you saying?
Why is all the Rebbe have a whole thing in Hilchos Shabbat? Chatas is a kodesh basis on shells and not about egg shells. He doesn't mention
Everyone
eggs.
holds, we'll get to it by because everyone holds you're not a shell and egg and shell. That's no
It's the same
question.
problem.
No.
I said, okay.
It's a whole arichas about dash. That's we can do it one later. So remind me when we get to dash, I'll explain. It's okay.
But, just remember, so when you're peeling a fruit, so you peel the banana, now you got the peel in one hand, you got the banana in another hand. But you're all right because you haven't put it down yet. You
Yes,
haven't
you
put it
hold
in
it
its
with the
place.
garbage.
You can walk over to the garbage and be, okay,
Yes,
okay, fine.
That's okay. That's why, when I was young, my parents used to make Mitzvah at the meal, like the Polish and Hungarians.
Wow.
The egg with onions, that was your Ashkenazi should know
Schmaltz.
that. And the problem when was, young, is I used to do it, eat it right into the garbage, man. I tell people, so that's because the peels are really muktzeh. Egg peels is muktzeh, you just said. The reason why they did it before the meal, I tell it to Chassidim and get very annoyed with me, is because they have no fridge. So eggs, you make eggs from eggs spoil very quickly. Speak to any people who work with food. Eggs and fish spoil the quickest. And so nowadays I make the items here. Erev Shabbos and it's just as good. But they in the place they talk a lot about it. They're peeling an egg on Shabbos. And it is muktzeh. The egg shells is muktzeh. Anything that a wrapper of a candy is muktzeh. People don't know this. You unwrap the candy now. This wrapper is worth nothing. If this wrapper is right now an eggshell. So an eggshell is muktzeh. So the wrapper of a candy is also muktzeh. Right? People don't realize it.
I'm thinking I'd throw it out.
Right, but if you put it down, you can't sit and play, you're sitting at a table, you're bored, you pick up a piece
You
of
can't
paper.
play with anything with that.
Yeah, but that is mamish muktzeh. That's like a shell of a nut, which a statue nut we call. Because it's really worthless. See, people think muktzeh's got to be an eggshell. It's got to be a piece of paper which is not made to do anything. Today we don't do anything with these paper. We throw them in the garbage. It's muktzeh.
You show an egg at the table, not over the trash can, plate, you can't.
So the plate, we later learn, you should put something onto the plate, piece of challah, then you can pick up the plate.
Doesn't
Doesn't seem like a
matter when, though, you put it.
Yeah, you can put it afterwards. We'll see later, the whole
Empty bottle of wine.
Empty bottle of wine. Well, an empty bottle of wine is not muktzeh because very often people use an empty bottle.
Or soda.
Also, people use it.
Recycle.
People do recycle, people use it. I
So
use
It all depends on people use. An apple peel people can eat, even though you're going to throw it out.
Right,
It's not-
that is edible. But the things that no one uses, no one reuses a wrapper. See, a soda, it's a good marshal. A soda, even though most of us throw, but from time to time you use it.
Yeah, they do the projects in the school, they tell you to bring the soda
It's the
bottle.
truth. I see my own teenagers don't, they just use it for whatever. But something that's not used is.
So when you get asked you to unwrap the lollipop, don't put it back in your pocket, the wrapper,
Right, just throw it right straight in the garbage. That's
or on
it.
the floor.
Not on the floor. Straight in the garbage. Are you allowed to move it in a shul?
No, but if you're walking to
No, you
shul,
walk into shul.
that's what he's saying, so you should.
Wait, hold it in your hand until you come to a garbage can. Throw it in the garbage can.
A soda can on Shabbos.
Yeah.
Shabbos? I mean, you can.
No, it's not a shower. That's a shower.
Where is the debate?
Making it even using a definition.
We're allowed to, but we'll get to each topic, we'll do those. You're not open a soda can on Shabbos. I know people make a big fuss about it later on body. Okay, let's move on over here. So tefillin is the most common problem. Tefillin, you forget your talis in tefillin. You want to take out your tefillin bag, your talis. What are you allowed to, what are you not allowed to? Us, we have 3 shuls next to each other. My shul, and there's Chabad Muktzeh. Every once in a while, we find tefillin in the back. It's very frightening. I don't know.
What?
A pair of tefillin. Recently, a guy came to me, and there's a pair of tefillin in the back. Someone left his back there, and it was tefillin. So, now, what are you allowed to do Shabbos now? That's the question.
You're not allowed to wear tefillin on Shabbos.
You're not allowed to wear tefillin, so what should you do Shabbos? Look that up. Tefillin ain't in the Sifri Kodesh. This is very important. You're not allowed to go out in Shisarab in tefillin. And you know why you're not allowed to go to Shisarab in tefillin? Zayda, the Rabbi is not mad over there, he leaves a little later. You can't go to tefillin Shabbos because the good old days, the bathrooms were outside the end of the city. And you have to take off your tefillin before you get to the bathroom, so you're going to come carry the tefillin $1. So Chazal says you're not allowed to wear tefillin, even according to the Manduba that says Shabbos man tefillin. Even according to the Manduba, you're allowed to wear tefillin, but you might take it off and carry $1. The Chol B'Shusam B'Tzulei B'Shkal B'Shabbos from the Chabad Shemishkach B'Yetzibay. Now I want to tell you a really chumrah of the Rav. And the Rav says a few times on Shabbat, if I'm not allowed to wear it outside the Shusarab, I'm not allowed to wear it in the house. According to the Rav, if there is no Eidah, let's make it clear, there is no Eidah, you're not allowed to put anything into your pocket.
In the house?
In the house, because you might walk out with it. Many people don't know this. So there is no Eidah. I can't tell you what to do because you're not saying on the Eidah. I don't know how far to stretch it. But when there is no Eidah, you're not allowed to put anything into your pocket because Chazal said you're going to forget to go out. Just like I'm not allowed to wear tefillin, I might forget myself or walk out. The Gemara says. And the Gemara says it's awesome. Wearing tefillin Shabbos is not so terrible. According to one, but don't wear tefillin because you might take it off and get to the bathroom. It means I gotta use the bathroom, forget myself. So Chazal said you're not wearing the house. So you're not allowed to put things in the pocket. I remember always watching people, Shabbos pulling out a handkerchief. You remember the good old days used to be a handkerchief. I don't know if you guys remember still those things. Used to pull out a handkerchief and put it around, probably Toronto, it's good and cold. Everyone has one. Put out and because you put it in your pocket. So if there is no Eidah, you can't put anything into your pocket.
But tell me, here's Alter was saying that anything that you're not allowed to wear, Alter was not saying anything that you're not allowed to carry.
Culture. It's a culture.
Because I'll tell you what,
It's a
because when you're
culture.
wearing it, you're not aware of it. You're
No,
wearing
so
it.
we also not aware. People forget themselves. It's a kolchkin. Because you know what the kolchkin is? Because even if you walk out to it, film, nothing happened.
Because you didn't carry it.
You didn't carry
You're
it.
wearing it.
You're wearing it. It's exeter. But your pocket, you walk out, finish. So he says, Commercial Bais Machine Gimel. V'afla matina shalubish b'bayis. The matina. The words of the Rav Mashman, he's machmer. Ein ab tefillin kedish nach der leheter, but it's not nach der hoyim. Hoyim in bichud lubish Hashem mitzvah, v'shabos lubish Hashem mitzvah. Sim lamadava. The Rav Paskins like the Mogan Avruam, tefillin is called keli shemalach der leser. Because you're not allowed to put on tefillin on Shabbos Shem mitzvah. You know, you're not allowed to do that. It's a pizoyim, many Rishonim hold it's interesting. The Avram brings a Zohar. I'm almost sure that the Avram brings it. Based on the Zohar, he calls it a Kedesh Nachtalis. It's very rare. Let me just explain to you why. Because there's no obligation to wear tefillin. So I wore tefillin, not too bad. But the Zohar says it's an issa to wear the tefillin.
Even if you find tefillin outside.
So then you have it in mind, not the Shemitzah. There's a Gemara
You
that
can't wear it.
you have to put it on and put it, take it in. But that you have to have in mind, show the Shemitzah. It's a B'zoyin of tefillin.
So if you, in the same example, you find the shul, you just
Right,
put it
that's
on.
a B'zoyin. The reason I tell people to bring it in because it's going to disappear.
So you can't actually carry sort of
If there's no air, you got to put it on. Wear it.
You say you would find tefillin outside of the shul?
Yeah,
in
the
the
alleyway.
street.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to run that. But the peacock, that's what it's the talta for the tzoyrich atzmut and it's nish you're not allowed to. Tefillin is called a keli shemalach der iser. Im Muktzeh shelo gnu hamatzin shem Yisraelim shelo boim de vizoyim biyudam. You know, tefillin is extremely expensive. In times of the Gemara, it wasn't so expensive. You know that. In time of the Gemara, they were not so particular. The famous Gemara says if a guy finds tefillin, he doesn't know who's the owner, he could wear it because when the owner comes, he'll give him a different pair of tefillin. I mean, I'm a Chabad, I have a Chabad ksav, and he has a different ksav, and mine are too big and he's small. Sometimes I always say,
Back then, they believed the cipher was supposed to be poor. Today, the
fasted,
rich.
fasted 40 days that the Sofim should be poor. Sofim was still poor. The dealers are rich. The Sofim was still poor, and so the dealers are the rich ones.
One second. And if the red Ganov would have been going, what would have been?
And then you're allowed to bring it to Psalm of Tefillin.
Okay.
Doesn't say anything.
That's where you can bring it in, because Ganovim is not going to come to Bezoim. But if Rav Ganovim are Goyim, then, see, no one steals, the Yiddish people steals Tefillin. That happens, I'm
In
sure.
Chabad Yeshiva here, if some tefillin went missing, you know, that's the people knew the value. You can sell it.
No, but it wasn't stolen by Jews.
Someone opened up the tefillin, cut it nicely open, knew how to cut it properly. That's what happened.
Okay. Aber Tzorich hier vom Kigan, Bishil Sheshmerim in Amaziken, you want to put on tefillin to be showing you from the Ziken, but it's Tzorich Mekaimai, Mittel Talta, Kedim Kelish Nachtalis, Shekomu Kiyesh Nemtalis Keli. In Malbish, the Gyotz Meshesram Puto, and Derech Malbish. It's called a Kelish Nachtalis, because you're not supposed to wear, but Kelish Nachtalis, there's a Tzorich Elautum. You're allowed to, they believe wearing tefillin was a shmita from a Ziken. So the Gemara says very clearly. The Gemara says that tefillin is a shmita from a Ziken. So a guy is nervous, and what?
For demons, yeah.
Yeah, demons. So Mamela, that's a tzorich. If a person wants to put on tefillin because he's nervous, he's afraid, he could put on tefillin
Even on Shabbos.
Even on Shabbos.
This applies today.
Let's say he doesn't want to put on tefillin.
If someone's afraid of Ezekiel, you would tell him to see a doctor.
Yeah, I was thinking, does he have to really know what he's doing?
No, but the truth is, if that's going to calm him down, it's
So
okay.
this is the doctor, we should probably.
What if he doesn't want to put on tefillin? He just wants to move the tefillin. That's okay?
That's not okay. It's because it's Kedesh not to listen.
No, you know, he can do Kalachayad, he can do.
I'm just saying, it's a Kedesh not to listen. So, but if you want the place, let's say the tefillin is in, I can sit down and learn, pick up the tefillin, put it away. So, I'm going to move on, but the Choyne mask are very kasha. Our tefillin is incredibly expensive.
That's another
Yeah, I don't know, but
You have to be going,
it's not, Chabad is not expensive.
$1,000
$1,000. I bought that phone for my son, it was even more than $1,000.
Not $1,000 anymore, they're $2,000.
$1,800. I bought
One, you took about two, one pair. Okay.
one pair of film cost me $1,500 from a son who's 10 years after me, 10 years ago. Anyways, so tefillin are very expensive. That's really very expensive. So the Alpha Biken, it's still called the Kiddush, not the Nissa. But
You're
most
saying
of
not Chassan Kiss.
not the Son Kiss. Because I don't know why, and I always was troubled, and I looked today quickly.
It's not like an iPod.
It's
or
not
an
like
iPhone.
yeah, because it's a chayfet shel mitzvah. I mean, they bring down from the Chazanish. I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. I saw someone quote the Chazanish. He was asked already this, and he says it's a chayfet of a mitzvah, so it doesn't become like a chasam kiss. Because no one speaks it out, because I'm sure they were expensive from that also. They were not, no one says it. So even though you understand the question, should be like, remember I explained last week, today's leichter is not just a Kiddush Machtalisa, it's Chassan and Kiss, it's very expensive. Your wife wouldn't let use for anything. She,
It's Chanai that everyone put tefillin on other Yidden, so they got used to it. It's expensive, but you're sharing it.
Yeah, but
You're
it's
sharing
very
the tefillin.
expensive, that doesn't take away the expenses.
You share it. It's kind of wrong.
It is expensive, it doesn't, it is.
You're not letting it to the
I left my
guy,
tefillin
right?
to people here, and the tefillin dropped out of their hands, and it became possible. I still lend it out. You lend it out. It's also going, and it's 1,000. Yeah.
Ah.
You get used to it because you lend your tefillin out.
Okay,
That'll work for the box.
But if the tefillin are in the talus
The
bag,
light dish, it doesn't work.
if the tefillin are in the talus bag on Shabbos, and you realize that my tefillin are in there, I can still take out my talus.
take out the talus.
The bus is
Because
full.
it's even better. The tefillin is in the front, the talus is in the back. You gotta take it out
Talus is
because
very
I need
front.
I need the place.
Okay, the talus has to be in the front.
I'm saying, I'm just saying. Let's say that's what happens. You're allowed to take out the tefillin because I need to get to the talus.
But you have to take it out like sideways?
No, it's a
Because
Kiddush
it's-
Machtalisa.
and not Chassan Kiss.
Let's say your talus was in the back, and for some reason the tefillin was in the front. To get to the talus, you have to take out the tefillin. So I'm taking the tefillin because I need to get to the place of the talus. Then you can take the talus and then put back the tefillin afterwards.
It's already in your hand.
So the whole bag is not a buses?
It's a both, just a both, yeah. So Kiddush and Nachman, it's a both, it's the both. So it's Kiddush and Nachman is here out to be metallic, so the roof of the
Without making a shoe, without.
You don't need a
without-
shoe.
When do you need to use it,
When it's a real Muktzeh, it's a stone, the iPod, iPhone. Okay, so there are a Schäufer, Schakle, she used to Tauber came and said, now, musical instruments. I'm going to get back in a Schäufer, but musical instruments today, I notice it's chasam-kist. Anyone who plays any big time. I see people who play any instrument, they don't let anyone play with it. They got, so it's chasam-kist today. But Schäufer is today, the Chaim say, it's chasam-kist. We don't, if you have a Schäufer, you don't have a children. Yeah, but I'm just saying, but the bottom, no, it's not a chayvit shemitza all year round. Tefillin is all year round a chayvit shemitza. Shofar is
Just
only
saying Medayer is the same thing as Shofar.
What do you say?
A Medayer should be the same thing as a Shofar.
Yeah, no, yeah.
If it's a,
But if it's
nice
expensive
silver
Medayer, it's a cake, it's a certain case, right? Today a Shofar, most people don't let the children play with the Shofar. Even it's not expensive. I don't know why. It's not expensive.
You and the kids, you see the always on you.
Not okay, but during the year, you let the children play with the Shofar.
Yeah.
Then it's okay. That's okay.
it depends. The
We're
one in the
sharing
Shomer
people.
factory, we let them play with.
The real shofar, the my kids play with my shofar. Yeah, I want them to play with my shofar.
It's inexpensive today. It's very inexpensive.
became possible.
Okay, like I always said, it's not expensive. You pay $50, you buy the kid at Chilek.
Today it's not so expensive anymore. It used to be, years ago, it used to be very expensive. Today there's a lot of competition, but Hashem and it's still so big, the prices just fell. I remember years ago, 20 years ago, shaver costed them $50, 20 years ago.
And supposedly they bring some from China, and nobody knows, and those ones are very cheap.
1 second.
No, it's true.
What's this can? What's this
I don't know, I guess the Goyim were making it, it was like, I think the shame it's a shape or something.
No,
like that.
no.
Thinks Chinese. Huh?
Shaver doesn't have to be Shem, it's a shaver. No. Okay. It's got to be a shaver. I mean, it's not sure to be fake. Okay. let's learn of this. Now, this is very, very important.
One second, Chaf, we jumped. We went Chaf.
Yeah, I thought we were for Challah.
Oh, I read the explanation, sorry. Chavav. Keine Shemachtel Isra Hefter, mit der Kalter Zerich Kiaske, die Keine Shemachtel, heute in Yiche Kamp Melech Esef. Something has both. Something in both. So, you know, I don't have a good notion because today, 30 years ago, I had a good notion. 30 years ago, 35 years ago when I got married, 37 already, but we used to put the pot in the fridge for the food. So a pot was a Kedish Machtelesa, but it was also to store food. Today, everything goes in the Tupperware, everything has a Kedish Miyuchet, you don't put a pot in the fridge anymore. So, but I'm saying, so the question, I don't have a good notion today, what's a Kedish Machteleta, but something for both, the Rav says it's okay. It's,
If we put the pot in the fridge,
then it's okay, but there's food in it. Now this is with the Rav's famous school which all the Chaim bring down. The next piece, the Rav holds, if there's food in the pot, you're allowed to be metaltal the entire pot shaloi letzoyich klal. Even though a pot is a kedish machtalis,
It comes like the food.
but the Rav is machadish. Even today the Litvish Chaim called the Rav. That's the Rav says this chiddush, and it's accepted that if you have a pot and you want to put the pot with soup into the fridge, whatever, then the whole pot becomes bottled to the food, and you're allowed to be metaltal for no reason. Just, you know, you don't have to worry about it's a kedish machtalis and there's food in it. It's like the food.
what if the food is bad inside?
Bad, then it's good. Then it's a
Well, I'm
pot.
understanding, we just said a second ago that if it's for mutter and for usher,
A pot
then
is
it's
a
okay.
kedish machtalis.
Huh?
A pot is a kedish machtalis.
But if it's a pot you
No,
store
no,
in the
no.
fridge.
Listen,
The Tauber said 35 years ago before the Tauber.
Now, a pot, your wife uses the pot to cook.
That's it.
Only.
Only. And rarely does she take out a pot to store things.
Okay.
It doesn't happen.
Okay.
So it's made, just because you have a little food that you put it in the fridge for the next
Now
day.
what we're saying, if there's
Now-
food in there,
Now there's food in the pot. Am I allowed to be mental it's a kedish machtalis in the pot? And do I have to have a mind, is it tzoyrich or shloile tzoyrich klal? The Rav holds, since food you're allowed to be mental to shloile tzoyrich klal, the pot takes upon himself the halachas of the food. That's the they always quote. Understand? Some held, or many achronim,
So the
who
child
held-
pot,
that's
the
just
child insert that you
Right.
take out, so you can,
Right.
that's
You
for
can move it for any reason you want. Child insert. That means you don't have to say, well, this is a kedish machtalis and have to be have come no. It takes on it like food. Food you're allowed to move around anytime you want for any silly reason. The same thing as the pot that has food in it.
Even once you finish the challah?
No. Well, finish. There's food there. It's edible.
If you finish.
No, you finish the challah.
There's no more food.
You have more food.
There's no more food. Then it's a kedish machtalis.
It's
It reverses, it's not what it was when Shabbos came in?
No.
oh, but even like a pot of soup, you know, like usually there's like a little left in the bottom, you know, the vegetables or whatever. So probably in the beginning it's edible, you could say you're moving it with food, but then after a couple of hours where it's spoiled and no good, now it's muktzeh.
Correct.
It's like
That's correct. That's correct.
very
You're
difficult
right.
to follow this stuff.
Why?
Because you have stuff that, you know, 1 minute it's mutter and then an hour later it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
No one leaves.
That's
Nobody
English
leaves
guy.
the pot out.
oh yeah.
But it's sarach mekayma.
You gotta wait for the housekeeper to clean that stuff, you know what I mean? Cover it, you know. put it on the
Is it, does the keli have to be designated to be used, like you're saying, back then they take a keli out of the drawer to store something. If the chicken soup pot, a lot of people take the pot out Friday night and they take the whole pot and put it in the fridge. Normally it's a regular pot, but just on Shabbos,
So it's a
So then
kedish
it's okay.
machtalis, but the Rav says since you there's food in it.
so it doesn't have to be designated like the rock. It's if at that time it has food in it, that's
That's
it.
true. That's
But
true.
what, I don't understand his question.
He's just saying you don't have to miyachet this pot. I'm going to store food.
What if you have a pot that's not being used and
Yeah,
you
so
want
you
to
can-
use it on Shabbos?
It's okay.
For sure.
It's okay. You have a tzedek. I want to store food. I have food. I want
So
to.
why do you
My
have
wife
to-
sometimes does it. The pot, the big pot, she doesn't want to put in the fridge, so she takes a smaller pot, whatever it is, and puts the soup in a smaller pot. It's a keli shmachtalis. You have a tzedek. Your tzedek is to
So
store the
what
food.
about a rock that you're using to hold the door?
You have to designate it forever.
Why do you have to rock?
Because it's not a keli.
Because this is a keli. A rock is not a keli. But Ran is not a keli.
That was the
Pot
same
is a
question.
keli.
Same questions asked.
Going back to the tefillin, if you want the tefillin bag, and the towels is there, and you want to carry the bag, you just take out the tefillin and use the bag?
Yes. Yes.
But the filling the bag, it only does it for filling.
No, it's talking about the whole bag.
No, that's all.
Like you need a big cup.
Yeah, principles, once you get the principles.
Okay, so there are Meducha. I said
A crusher. You put the garlic, you
Moro,
put a kvetch.
pestle, which is the
Garlic,
Moro, which is the pestle. I don't know which one is what.
No jar.
What? So with the more, it's more. So that means the keli that you crush the spices. Meducha yesh b'shum ki it's met with honey doch by mitel ataltel. You know how to be metaltel after you know. You know it's so interesting. Every house had a mortar or pestle. And now we have a KitchenAid or who knows what.
Correct.
Every house needs a KitchenAid. Imagine every house had a thing to
grinder.
crush the grinder, a hand grinder, a mortar and a pestle. And it wasn't just by the pharmacy. Now you don't even see it. When I was growing up, there used to be a picture of the pharmacy, the mortar and pestle. And even that doesn't exist. Okay, so that we do chemiyash b'shem kiyotz, we do am do b'mit tat avdet zer chatzim, apish yikel shmach the lisa shem do chi b'tfeila, ki b'teila la shum shebetoicha. It's bottle ki moishe gdei tfeila tav shebetoicha, reizi ki ille metalvos a shum b'vadoi. See how the Rab emphasizes? The whole keli becomes the food. The food. We look at the whole keli, it's food. Becomes tough to the food. Shemit l'tatav shon yitzerich klal. For no need but any reason. Aber nusem and diche kicker tinnig. Imagine he has the pot, and I want to move away the pot because I don't want to see. I'm allowed to move away the pot. Let's say it's not so. I don't want the goy to steal it, so I'm going to put some crumbs into the pot. That doesn't make it okay. He says the food that was cooked in it, the food that you usually use on it, just because I want to move the pot. Let's say I have a pot in the shul. You don't want the guy, cleaning guy, to steal the pot. So you want to move it away. So you're not allowed to. It's occasionally after this. So I'm going to put some breadcrumbs into it that you can't do. The soup that is cooked in there, which you use, then that's what he
So
said.
you can make up with certain though.
Yeah, but you have to make it certain.
So in the case of the spice grinder, the spice is already sitting in there.
Then you're not to move it around.
So that means you can move it.
But if you have an empty spice grinder, you want to move it, you put bread into it, you're not planning to spice.
It's never made for bread.
You can't do that?
No, he brings the shit to later. So
You want to sit in the place where the pot is in the shul?
Oh, yeah, that's you're allowed to pick
You move the
up.
bottom.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Aber im Nussen, wenn man dich in Kicker in Tinnig geschaut, wenn man tun mit Alt Shem dich in zwei Leher, Nussen und Alt denken, soll ich Atzmoin, because you want to be told the pot, Shemnes Babad, he should eat a Tal the Macham and Zel and the Kicker in Tinnig Kitzma. We can later learn by mess, to Metalton, unfortunately, someone dies, you're allowed to put bread on him, and to Metalton the mess, or Tinnig.
For a child, trying to put a child in a mess, yeah.
That's a good idea.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, you know.
What's up? Why do you have to put the food on the mess?
Because the mess is Muktzeh.
If you want to be told on a mess, it's in the chama, you want to put it on the floor, so you're allowed to put bread onto that's how you're supposed to do it. Someone dies Shabbos, Muktzeh, you put bread on the mess, and put it on the floor. So that's only the mess Bilvad. Even that, not everyone agrees. I know.
Only for sale.
Only for chama, let's say. That means the mess is in the sun, and we don't want it to
So
smell.
what's the difference between the mess and the grinder?
Chazal, the cool, that means I am not allowed to put, someone over here asked me over here, remember, that someone told them that you could put bread on the thing, and move the light. That's not so simple. So that means, what do you say?
I said a bench.
A bench. So the reason why, the reason we only are mad at this, by mess, that you put something on the mess, you metal to the mess. But here we have a grinder, and you want to put something onto the grinder to move it, that doesn't, and there's no header for that. Because it's not buckled to it, it's only by mess the setting kula. You know what I'm saying? So if I have this more practical, then he said, the leichter with the tray, so someone told you put a bench on it, pick it up, move it away. That is wrong.
Well, first of all, the bench has to be there for Mena Shmoshes. It's a
No, the bench like Shabbos.
Okay.
Yeah,
But not
it's
bench.
we said it's not, the value doesn't equal.
Yeah, but even though, because even if you put now, it's not made for that. I don't know, but us Hungarians, let me tell you how it goes. It's not only we have a leichter, we have a special tray for the leichter.
Correct. You put an expensive gold watch there.
But your leichter depends what type of a tray you have. My wife is has a special tray for the leichter, and she feels so she doesn't use that tray. You know what I'm saying? It depends. So certain people use any tray. I don't know, what do you use for your leichter? It's on any tray?
No, special tray.
It's a special tray.
It looks special.
Okay, so maybe your wife wouldn't use it for anything else. That's what I'm trying to say. Doesn't help now. It's not made for that. This is what I was saying.
Put a watch on it.
You're never made to put a watch on
The
it.
watch is worth more than the life.
Right, but you're not made for that.
A watch is never worth more than the life of
The table that you have your menorah on the Shabbos,
You can.
the table I do put Svarim on, what's wrong?
Yeah, but the correct question is, you want to move the table.
Yeah.
So it has to be more, the scarf that you put on has to be more, whatever menorah you have.
My shver bought me when I was engaged.
Is it expensive or not expensive?
That's what your shirt told.
That's why you get it when you're engaged, once you get married, you don't.
So anyways, if it's expensive, you gotta put something very expensive on the table.
And if the menorah
That's what
matches-
machlokes is.
Choshev or expensive?
Choshev and machlokes. So Choshev and Avram. Two opinions. It's expense or choshev. So the many goyim try to be machmir and put something very choshev
And expensive.
and expensive. That's why you put the challahs and put some expensive jewelry on the table.
But as far as the menorahs are concerned, if the menorahs are not that expensive,
Then it's no problem. You can just have a safer than before
you just
Shabbos.
want to move the space because you're worried about the kids, not having
Yeah, that's
over.
okay. You just put it before Shabbos. It's better because before Shabbos it doesn't become a bus at the table. So when you light the menorah, so you put something. If it's a cheap menorah, that should be practical. It's not a silver menorah. You can put svarim or challah on the table. It'll be just good.
Then you just move the tray.
Move the tray, the table, whatever. Okay.
So under normal circumstances, you're not allowed to touch it. You're not allowed to move the candle out, the light.
The leichter could never, the leichter with the tray cannot, just because you put food onto the tray, doesn't make it right. Like he said, someone told him a bench, right? What you're saying, that doesn't, if you have a special nowadays where the tray is not made, but it's only made for that, so it's not made for that.
So if you want to take out the tablecloth to clean it, you can't move it.
Okay, unless you have a shiksa, Okay. Aber, is a kid of Yes, Chalke, this is the Kula, Ba'amren, Shemetucha Shakel Shmachtel, Semitel Talta Zurich Akeli Atzman, the Kicker Tinnik, the Armekel, Bashad Wura Betul Betal, Pula, Omni Shloi Kir Betul, the Kicker Tinnik, the Vadim, Eli Betul, which is Gumar Usra Talta Zurich from the He's saying like this, that Rab is saying, the Soma Mekel, that you're allowed to make Kicker Tinnik on a Keli Shmachtel Eser. But does not help for a leichter. That means if something's a Keli Shmachtel Eser, a pot, they hold, if you want to move the pot away, and you can put a Kicker Tinnik into it. That because they are Mekel, a Keli Shmachtel Eser is a less Muktzeh, so they are Mekel. But a leichter, I explained this, Muktzeh, that's worse. It's expensive. It's chasson kiss.
Spice wine, this
Right, spice wine.
You're saying this is even not Lutzark Mekabeh, though.
Right, even not Shalom Sukkah. So that Yesh Makila, even Shalom Sukkah, but to put something into the grind. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk a pot. I have a heter to move the pot. This is very decayed. Some I'm sure some of your children don't like to play with the pots.
Yes.
You can buy the most expensive toy, and the 2-year-old is all in the pots, and with a lot of noise.
So put him in the pot and move him out of the house. That's what he said.
So that's emotional. So according to one opinion, is you just want it out. Not that said, you could I'll make to put something into the pot, piece of bread, and move the pot. The Rav says, but you can't do it on Paskin Dad. He said, big tzorech you could, but many make a mistake. I forgot your name, but he was saying that. I heard this mistake, that our leichtes should apply. If there's a big need, but our leichtes is worse. It's Muktzeh, machmas, chasson, kiss. It's very expensive. You're never going to use it for anything else. So it doesn't help putting, a bench or anything else, no matter what you put. If you put your wife's diamond ring there, it's also not gonna help.
I thought we said at one point that a keli shalachel isser, like a pot, if it's something that kids play around with regularly, then that kind of changes its
But the
status.
children are allowed to play with it. That's a Torah.
No, but if the children are allowed to play with
If
it,
they play with it
so
all the
why do you
time.
have to put bread in it? Why would it be any different than the kids'
Well-
toys that you're allowed to pick up and put away without putting bread
A
inside?
pot is not a Torah. The reason you're not allowed the children play with it, that's a Torah. You need the 2-year-old to be occupied.
But there's a
That's
difference
Torah.
between the pot that's on the ground that he's playing with and the pot that's sitting
No,
on the
it doesn't
table.
make
I'm saying, why
Because a
doesn't the pot become like a toy?
But it's not.
Because
Because they play with it 20 minutes and then they get bored. I have children too. How long did you play? How long did your 2-year-old play with it? 20 minutes. And then.
But with any toy, his kid plays only for 20
Right,
minutes.
that's right.
Yeah, that's
You
a
they go
children,
from big to big. So I'm
but it's
saying-
not made for that.
It wasn't
The
made for
pot is made to go. If they get bored and in the kitchen, a pot will help them to be occupied. But that's not made for them.
When they're done with the pot, they can leave it where it is.
No, so if you
It's a
want
bread
to walk in the kitchen, so it's tzarich mekayim. Let's say the pot is in the middle of the kitchen. You're not tzarich. You're walking there, you might trip over it. So that's called tzarich mekayim.
If Chas v'shalom, someone has a TV in their house and they have it on top of a dresser, does the dresser become muktzeh to use? You pull out a drawer, or can you not move the dresser at all?
Well, let's say a table. You have something muktzeh at the table. You could open the drawers.
Right, but
That's
you,
good.
but you can't move the dresser.
Can't move the
Sorry,
dresser.
let's say you just need to move it aside.
Right. Can't move the dresser.
There's no some kids up there. Even if you have it and if it breaks, not the end of the world.
No, but that's still, if your iPhone breaks.
iPhone is something else.
Just saying it's cheaper, There's a value to it.
So
Or
really,
you
the
can-
problem is the drawers, where you have your iPhone in your
In it,
drawer,
that's right.
together with your,
I'd say,
your cufflinks.
I tell this to everyone.
Cufflinks.
We grew up, we grew
My
up,
cufflinks and my phone are in the same drawer.
we grew up, we always had a mixer drawer. I remember this all the time.
You know what I'm saying about Rabbi? He's like cufflinks is a hush of a thing.
Yeah, but we only put muktzeh in the muktzeh drawer. My children always had like a drawer that was only for the muktzeh things. Not for the cufflinks. I wouldn't put the jewelry and the cufflinks there. I'm just saying, because you can't open the drawer. You put your phone there, it's very expensive. Today,
But that's not
I went
muktzeh at
last
all.
week, the next day I went, a bunch of people asked people, how, do you have to try to play with your son? No one allows to play with
No,
your son.
but.
Everyone I noticed.
But Rabbi, if you have a drawer that has both the phone that you don't let your kids play with, and your cufflinks for your jewelry, that you also don't let your kids play with.
But that's nothing to do. Jewelry is not muktzeh, period.
No, I
So
know.
now, what is more expensive you have to judge?
It's more chashuv or
More
value.
chashuv.
More expensive.
And you would rather not lose your iPhone than the cufflinks. Yeah, they're very expensive, but people are so attached to their phone. It's so, I watch this, I see this. You're right. If it's not, if you don't care, it's
It's a
cheap.
question of which one is more.
That's why the best thing.
wise to-
That's why you should have a drawer and put it there.
But I'm just saying, trying to clarify from a halachic standpoint, if the item in that drawer, let's say the guy has his custom watch sitting in the drawer next to the iPhone, you know what
If
I'm
it's
saying?
more expensive, the phone, is jewelry, then it's not a problem. Some hold, related on, I know that I've holds, I don't remember, but some hold, that's only with the Evid. You should never even put before Shabbos this way and rely that's one more chashiv. You know what I mean? I'm almost sure that was all, but no, the Mishnah brings it out from the
Also, mutter together, I think.
like a tchela, you're not supposed to do it like a tchela. That means it, but he's asking like a tchela, let's say the jewelry is more expensive. And so he's going to open the drawer because the jewelry is much more
Is
expensive.
it okay to use that drawer for the
But
phone?
you shouldn't ever begin like a tchela. You have a Shabbos, you ought to open it, but set yourself up in such a situation. Many Achronim hold you're not allowed to do that. I mean, I'm almost sure that I will also stop there.
You push the drawer back in, or has to stay out once you've taken out your cufflinks?
You could,
Knachiyat.
Well, if you don't need the place, it's just open, it just doesn't look
So
so.
then you just back of your hand.
Even if you don't really need it.
Yes, just to be allowed to do back of your hand.
So if you have your computer, your printer, it's not about what it's on, it's about, you can still move a drawer. But if the drawer moves the entire table for whatever reason, that's a different story.
Most often this doesn't happen. Right. He says, "Ve'ikik esur shayna." Come, as you just make a surah claim. We make a surah claim.
Nothing about that, yeah.
Okay, now, Neulet,
what's
Mittag,
that?
B'Shabbos, will er Chol Gimel. Kanochish, Usi Keili Chudin, B'Shabbos, Atz Mittel, Talchalor, the Shtamish Boy, there's Vassalation in base. The Goy makes a Keili, it's not Muktzeh. Now, I want to tell you something.
Newspaper.
Yeah, but I'm going to say that the Mashal says, in Elchos Yontav, it depends what type of a Keili. The Goy just puts Haswood, puts together a Keili, that's what we're not. But if something was totally new, the Mashal says it's called Neulet. Shal asked the famous question, if you learn the Seftes Be'er, why is ashes Muktzeh on Shabbos? People used to use ashes. I don't know if you're aware about it. Ashes was used to cover things and it was a daily use. But if ashes became Shabbos, if it would burn, it's called Neulet. He's bothered. I do Shabbos not is Neulet. He says something that's so new. He says it's
Ashes, he says, it's so new.
it's so new. So even though that happens all the time, you burn wood every now. He says you create something brand new. So that's what many older newspapers, Muktzeh, Neulet, type of Neulet. That's why for the record, I asked the LA.
Like you said, Mama, she writes in the bottom that you know, Gomer Rosa Gomer Shabbos.
Who writes?
In Nun Reish Dal, Rabbi 11.
Isn't a newspaper Muktzeh because it's
He
Divrei
brings from Shin Yud. Just in the bottom, in Reish Dal, that's not much what you're saying. That Noilad Mamish is awesome. Noilad Gomer is awesome.
Yeah, now you go to the Muslim, Shabbos, right? He brings down the Rav says, Tuf Tzadik Ches, that's what in Hilchos Yontav.
Yeah.
Tuf Tzadik Ches is Hilchos Yontav, the Mashal says this. So something in Neulet Gomer is
You're
Muktzeh
saying a
Shabbos.
newspaper is Noilad Gomer.
Okay, so
Isn't a newspaper Muktzeh because of Divrei Chol?
no, most of it is news. It's not Muktzeh, it's just news.
That would is like
Yeah, but the part is Muktzeh is the stocks, but the other part is not Muktzeh. Just
So but you have to move. It's, let's say it's all in one thing. So can you just take out
The
the sports section?
You can't do that. He said it's Noilad, finish.
The problem is Muktzeh is because it's the goy printed on Shabbos. And secondly, you're telling the goy to live. You can tell the goy not to live Shabbos. They have a thing.
No, not. Let's say you're at someone's house or somewhere, whatever. Not. You didn't get it delivered to.
I'm just saying that.
What about the Wall Street Journal? I don't think they have that. You can't tell them not to deliver on Shabbos.
No.
Those are two separate issues. The issue of if let's say your guy had his newspaper delivered, so it's for him, and he lives upstairs from you,
Can't
wants to
touch
go
it.
downstairs. That's one issue. Is whether you. But the second issue is they didn't make it l'tzar for me. They made it l'tzar of that guy. It's
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but it's not. It has nothing to do with
so you're saying because it's not gomer, but it's not gomer by a guy for a guy. It's not for.
Right, but still, if the goy prints something that's Muktzeh, it's nothing to do with it.
How about it's printed before? Let's say any.
There are things that it's okay. It's printed before, it's not a problem.
So what's so an Alter Rebbe talks about a guy making
chair.
Chadash. So it's if there's already wood there.
Oh,
and
right, but something brand new.
I think
You want to just close this one?